Welcome to OpinionJournal.com. I'm James Freeman. Here to tell us about the Obama stimulus plan is our senior economics writer on the editorial page, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Hi, James.
So how much does Obama want to spend, and what is he going to spend it on?
Well, it depends on what day you ask him. You know, if you look back during the campaign, it was going to be a $150 billion stimulus bill, and then $300 billion, and then just last week they said maybe $500 to $700 billion. This would be the largest infusion of funds since the New Deal. In fact, it would be on that scale when FDR tried to rescue the economy. And I would make the note that FDR's New Deal spending did not stimulate the economy. These government stimulus plans have almost never worked in terms of creating more jobs. They create more jobs in the government sector, but you lose jobs in the private sector, and it turns out to be mostly a wash.
And even more recently, just last January, February, we tried 150, 160 billion of stimulus, and
that's
what was the result there?
Well, we had those were the rebate checks that we sent out, the government sending checks to people. There was a little burp of economic activity in the summer when people got the checks, but it just dissipated. There was no lasting effect whatsoever. So I think this is highly misguided. It would be much more effective to take that $500 or $700 billion and do maybe an across-the-board tax rate reduction or something like that that would actually stimulate more economic activity. It would get businesses hiring more workers, and those would be permanent jobs.
Well, let's talk about that now, because the stimulus obviously seems to have entranced Washington policymakers. It's a very popular idea, even though it doesn't tend to work. Why is it that pumping 150 or 500 billion into the economy never gives them the boost they're hoping for?
Well, because as Milton Friedman taught you and me, James, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So if the government is taking $1 and spending it, it has to come from somewhere, and it comes out of your wallet and my wallet. And so basically the effect is to more jobs over here, less jobs over there. I think we also have to realize that I think one of the things that's motivating the Democrats is that most of these jobs that would be created, the 2.5 million, guess what? Those would be union jobs because of these wage requirements. So this is a bit of a payback to the unions that put $400 million into Democratic coffers over the last year.
So if they're going to do a stimulus plan, and we don't necessarily like them taking all of these taxpayer dollars and shoveling them out into whatever their purposes are, I guess your one hope is that they do it quickly and this doesn't become sort of a permanent part of the budget.
Yeah, well, this is the big problem. You spend $500 to $700 billion, and that inflates the budget costs of every program, not just this year, but in every future year. So it's like ratcheting up the federal budget by $500 billion from now until forever. So this has very dramatic long-term fiscal effects. And remember, we're already facing $1 trillion budget deficit, James.
So $500 billion is actually I don't want to say a fraud, but it's just a portion of what will be spent in the future if this gets into the budget.
That's right. You were talking about, $500 billion deficits for as far as the eye can see.
Yikes. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, James.
And thanks to you for OpinionJournal.com. I'm James Freeman.